Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Enjoy English. I'm Bruce.
大家好，我是 Bernice.
Today we will be reading, and tomorrow, an article, Foley, the creation of sounds in films. Now, we all like movies, I'm pretty sure about that. And whether you watch them in the theater or on television or some other way, you can even walk around with your
cell phone.
Cell phone, smartphone, and enjoy movies. And the sounds that we hear, we often think are, let's say, naturally created, but in fact, many sounds that we hear in movies or television programs are added into the programming after it is already filmed. We'll give you some examples of that later in today's and in tomorrow's lesson. The title of our two-day lesson is Foley, the creation of sounds in films.
对，所以我们今天要讲的是中文叫做拟音啦，拟就是模拟的意思啦哈。那这样的一个东西呢，它其实呢是从无声到有声，然后呢要来揭开这个电影。那为什么刚才老师有讲到这个？就是有的时候我们在看电影的时候，你觉得那个好像是自然而然在电影里面发生出来的一些声音，其实有的时候是后置的，就是电影已经拍好了，那后面再把这样的一个音效加进去的。
Okay, today the subtitle, The Creation of Sounds in Films. Foley artists have sharp ears for sounds. Sharp ears? Yeah.
不是你的耳朵尖尖的。
No, this sharp means clear and easy to perceive. In this case, easy to hear, easy to listen to. And that's because the sounds are created especially for what you see on the television screen or the movie screen or your handheld device. Sharp ears, we usually use sharp with sight. He has very sharp eyesight. He can look up in the sky and tell you what kind of birds are flying around. He has sharp eyes. Okay. Sharp ears means, well, maybe again, a nature analogy. You're out camping in nature with somebody and they hear some sound and maybe you're a little bit afraid of it and he's afraid of it. And he says, oh, no, that's some frog or bird or other creature. Sharp ears, they can detect sounds which most people or even other animals cannot. Sharp eyes, you can see things which most other people cannot.
所以刚才呢，这个 Bruce 老师解释的就是说呢，这个拟音师呢，因为我们刚刚讲他是要把声音加在制作好的电影上，所以他的耳朵要非常非常的敏锐。刚刚老师讲的很 clear， 他一点点细微的声音他都可以听得出来，尤其是对于声音，所以这些拟音师呢，都有着一对这个声音敏锐的耳朵。
Foley, the creation of sounds in films. In the film industry, Foley is an important element that the audience rarely notices. It is the art of creating everyday sound effects, which are then added to films and videos in post-production to improve the sound quality. These sounds can range from people walking to a gun being fired. In the early 20th century, films were silent. However, the 1927 film, The Jazz Singer, marked a new chapter in the film industry. Sounds were successfully added and matched perfectly with the moving images in the film. To stay ahead in this new age of sound films, major film production companies hired sound effects artist Jack Foley to add sounds to their films. Because the microphones of the time could only pick up dialogue during filming, all other sounds had to be added in post-production. To do this, Foley and his small team projected the film on a screen while recording all the sound effects. Their timing had to be perfect so that sounds like footsteps or wind blowing would match the movements in the film. Though technology has greatly advanced since then, many of Jack Foley's techniques are still used today. Over time, his name has become widely used in the industry to describe the practice of creating sound effects.
The title again, The Creation of Sounds in Films. We have a few paragraphs here, 3 to be exact, and as usual, we go through them, usually paragraph by paragraph. So let's first take a look at part 1, and the first sentence is, in the film industry, Foley is an important element that the audience rarely notices. Film industry, I can remember when I first saw a phrase like that, the film industry or the publishing industry. Usually we think of industry as businesses which produce steel, electricity, machines, and so on. But now we use the word industry for any business or some part of society which produces things that other parts of the society use and need.
对，老师解释就是说，原本以他的那个想法，就是我们听到 industry 产业、工业这个字，好像这个公司就是产 steel 钢铁类的，但不是。现在呢，任何的一种这个 businesses 啊，比如说像我们这边讲的 film industry， 就是电影的产业，一样可以用到这样的一个字。所以在电影产业里面呢，你模拟声音的这个音效，其实它是相当重要的一个 element。我们知道这个 element 呢，就是 part of something, but very essential， 它是很必须的一个要素。然后呢，这个要素是怎么样呢 ？That the audience rarely notices。你想嘛，你在看电影的时候，你怎么可能会是去特别注意到说，哎，里面那个声音，哎呦，他走路的声音，他咬东西的声音是真的我们都以为是他真正发出来的声音，可其实呢，它可能只是一个模拟的声音。所以我们一般来说，观众是 rarely 几乎很少会 notice 会注意到的。
It is the art of creating everyday sound effects which are then added to films and videos in post-production to improve the sound quality. So here we're calling it also an art of creating sounds and then adding them at the right time into what we see in a movie or television commercial, anything that we see. The sounds are almost always added into post-production. After they have filmed what they are going to film for a day or a week, then they will add in the sounds. That treatment, also colors or things which are drawn rather than are physical, but they're drawn and then added into a movie. That's all post-production.
对，因为 post 的这个字原本就是 after， 原本就是 behind， 所以它不可能之前，我怎么知道之前它会发出什么声音呢？对不对？所以我一定是之后，等到你电影拍完之后，后期的制作才会做这样的一个动作。所以他这边就讲了，它是一种艺术。好，就是你创造出这种每天我们日常都可以听到的这些音效了，比如说的声音。好，等等等这些声音，好，这些都是我们每天都会听到的一些 sound effects， 就是这些音效。而这些音效呢 ，which， 然后我们就把这些每天听到的刚才的这些音效呢，然后再把它加进去，被加入在这些电影里面，或者我们看的一些影片之中。那一定当然就是刚才讲的，在后期制作的时候，我们把它加进去的。那为什么要加进去这些声音呢？因为我要改善一下，因为可能当下在拍电影的时候，那个声音没有达到这一个所谓电影里面要的那个音效，所以我后续再把它加进去的时候呢，就可以去改善这些声音的 quality， 它的音质。
These sounds can range from people walking to a gun being fired to almost everything that we actually hear in a movie has been treated, the post-production. even when actors are speaking, of course that is recording, but then they clean it up by the time it's ready to send out to the movie theaters where we buy tickets and enjoy a film with perfect sound. Even in real life, we don't have perfect sound.
对，所以老师这边讲的就是很重要的，因为这些声音呢，它的范围 range from A to B， 它的这个范围呢，包含有什么？比如说人们在走路。好的声音，或者是呢到砰砰砰砰砰 gun being fired 你的枪声，这些东西都不可能有完美的，就是老师刚刚讲，生活里面不会有这个声音是完美的声音，所以都一定要靠后期这些拟音师的这个帮助，把它这个完美的声音加进去，这样我们买票进去看电影才觉得觉得这个电影非常的好看。
Okay, these sounds we said that, can range from basically most, if not all, the sounds we hear in movies these days has been treated or prepared so that it's a clear and pleasant listening experience, not just a visual experience.
对，所以老师讲就是说，我们的这一个所谓的听觉的这个经验，对我们来说是非常的喜欢、非常舒服的。
Okay, let's take a short break and then we'll start paragraph 2.
OK。
Okay, second paragraph. In the early 20th century, films were silent. I have seen silent films, but in college, when you study films as a course that you want to graduate in, or some clubs will show special kinds of films to gather people to support their parties or things like that. I was lucky to have seen a wide range of movies, not just American movies, international and those with subjects that we don't usually see when we go to see a movie these days. They were special art films, for example, and some of them had no sound at all, which was a very interesting experience, something we're not used to today.
Yeah.
Sound is such an important part of movies today.
Yes.
The first movies were silent, which means without sound.
对，所以刚才Bruce老师讲，在他大学时代的时候呢，他就有这样的一个经验，他看了很多很多的电影，那有一些电影就真的就是里面都没有声音的，好，完全没有声音的。那这个时间点呢，发生的时间呢是在20世纪的初期，那个时候的电影都没有声音。
However, the 1927 film, The Jazz Singer, marked a new chapter in the film industry. We talked about industry not long ago. So we are now seeing it as it's a product. Movies are products that go through periods of growth and improved techniques and improved technology. It's hard for us. I don't know if you've ever seen a silent movie or not. It's so different from the experiences we see today in movie theaters where you have Dolby sound and you feel like you're in an ocean of sound. But now, there were sounds, but not produced by the actors or the things in the movie. They had a person playing a piano, and the music from the piano had moods to it. So, da, 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 if there was a scary part of the movie, or for romantic parts of the movie. But you could see the piano player and hear the music, but it was clear that they were not caused by each other. They were two different media.
原来是这个样子，所以呢，老师的意思就是说，以前他们看的这个电影呢，就是说，你会看到一个人在那个弹钢琴啦，哈，可是呢，那你弹的这个钢琴，真的就是他从他的这个弹的这个钢琴的声音出来，并不是说他后面再加上这样的一些媒体的一些制作的一个东西。所以呢，他这边就讲说呢，可是到了1927年，有一部电影，它叫《爵士歌手》。 它就 marked， 因为要记得1927年是过去了，所以那个 mark 要加 ed， 它就象征了好 represent， 它代表了一个 new chapter， 一个新的章节的开始，尤其是在电影业界。
Okay, let's continue. Sounds were successfully added and matched perfectly with the moving images in the film. This was a different dimension. It was a huge change, and most people consider it a great progress in filmmaking. The next big step in the movie industry was adding color, because the first movies were black and white only for decades. And do you know the film that had the first color? Somewhere over the rainbow.
Okay. The name is 这是第一部有加入颜色，就是有彩色的电影，不然都是 black and white.
Yeah, and that movie started in black and white. But after the Long Juan Fong and Dorothy was taken away and put into this other world, that world had color. And then at the end of the film, she returns home and it's black and white again.
所以一开始的黑白，后来他被龙卷风刮走之后，进入到了另外一个世界，又变成彩色，然后最后结束的时候又是黑白的。
The Wizard of Oz. O-Z, Deeming, The Wizard of Oz. You should see it. It is a real classic.
Okay.
All right. Sounds were successfully added and matched perfectly with the moving images in the film. Okay, to stay ahead in this new age of sound films, this is important in modern industry. You have to stay, gives us the idea that you stay there, don't move. But if you stay ahead, it means you are progressing, you're changing and improving. And if you can do that, your business will be successful.
没错，所以老师这边讲的这个往前呢，本来 stay 是说你不要动，你就站在那儿，你待在那里不要动。但是这边的 stay ahead 的意思就是说你要保持领先嘛，那你要保持领先，就像老师刚刚讲，你才能够成功嘛，对不对？我先翻译一下上面这个句子。他说当时呢，这些声音啊都被成功的加进去了，而且你加不是说我声音加到那个我的电影里面就好，你还要怎么样 match perfectly？ 比如说他刚好脚踏下去，你才能有那个声音嘛，所以你要跟它是同步的。所以呢，你要能够完美的跟它同步的搭配。比如说呢，里面有一些所谓的 moving images in the film， 就是在这个电影里面呢，有一些动态的状况啊，好，比如说他开门滴，然后这个声音，那你要刚好跟我的这个开门的这个步骤这个步调是同步的，所以这些呢，通通都要完美的搭配。
To stay ahead, that means you are producing better films than other companies. In this new age of sound films, that was a major change in the industry's development. Major film production companies hired sound effects artist Jack Foley, that's his name, to add sounds to their films. If you are hired, of course, you are asked to join a company and work for them. You are employed, or we can also say you are taken on. You are added to the company.
好的，所以那个时候呢，我们为了要 stay ahead， 就像老师刚刚讲，你的企业要 stay ahead， 要保持领先才能成功啊。所以我为了要能够保持领先，在这样的一种已经有声音的这样的电影的时代，新的这个时代里面呢，所以就开始出现了很多的 major film production companies， 就是一些很多大型的这些电影的制作公司。这些公司呢，就开始要雇佣，刚刚老师讲的，你可以用 hired， 你可以用 employed， 就是你雇佣了这些所谓的声音，好，添加这种音效的一些这个所谓的艺术家。那这有一个艺术家的名字呢，就叫做 Jack Foley。这个人呢，他呢就会把它加进去，他的声音加到他们的这些电影里面。
Okay, we'll be talking in just a moment more about Jack Foley and this new type of production after our short break.
好的。
Okay, now let's look at our final section of today's lesson. Remember, this is day 2 of talking about all kinds of improvements in the film industry.
Yeah.
Because the microphones of the time could only pick up dialogue during filming, all other sounds had to be added in post-production. There's an interesting fact for you. Now, a microphone is this kind of, we're wearing microphones to improve the sound quality of our voices. Micro means very, very small. Phone, you have to think of my generation's telephone, which would sit on a desk and you pick up the receiver and talk into this and listen.
Yeah.
It was big, bulky, heavy. Today, microphones can be the size of a grain of sand. The progress has been just amazing, almost infinite. So these microphones today, they pick up sounds that could only pick up dialogue during filming as it was being filmed. So all other sounds had to be added in post-production. So some things were recorded as they were spoken or as they happened. Others had to be 加进去 after that.
对，所以这个句子就是告诉我们呢，比如说有些人会说，哎，那我要收集这个声音，我用麦克风不就行了吗？可他这边就说了，因为呢，当时麦克风呢，在那个时期 of the time， 就是在那一个只有这个刚刚才开始声音有这个所谓的进展的这样的一个时期呢，那个时候呢，麦克风只能够 pick up， 只能够收集到什么呢 ？dialogue。就是比如说我们两个 actors， 我们两个讲话的这个声音，它了不起就是收音这样的一个声音 during filming， 就是在拍摄的期间。那可是我们旁边的这些布景啊，或者是等一下那边有一个车子开过来的那个声音，可能它就没有办法收集到这么远方的声音，所以呢，其他的声音都必须要在后面电影拍完之后后期的制作，再把后面的这些声音加进去。
To do this, to add post-production sounds into post-production, Foley and his small team projected the film on a screen while recording all the sound effects. So they went back to maybe the original situation with movies. They looked at the picture and there was a recorded sound, and now pay. They have to make sure that the sound of the car going by the two main actors who are talking occurs while they are talking. Not you hear a car go by, but you don't see any car.
OK， 所以这个也很重要。所以就是我们刚刚讲的同步啊，你要完美的去 match 它嘛，对不对？所以呢，他就说了，就是因为为了要做这件事，这件事是什么事情？就是我们电影已经拍完了，可是我要在拍完电影之后，我要怎么样把这个声音真的完美的可以同步的加上去呢？所以 Foley 跟他的这个一个小团队，他们就把这个电影呢 project 把它投射出来，好，把这个电影投射在一个 screen， 投射在一个荧幕上面 ，while record， 然后在这个投射上去之后 ，while recording， 就是当他们正准备呢要录制所有的这个音效的时候，然后顺便你要看着电影嘛，电影里面刚刚旁边有一台车子过去了，还是刚刚有一个人蹦蹦蹦开了3枪，那3枪蹦蹦蹦是3下啊，你配音就要配蹦蹦蹦，你不能多配一下，这样子就会变得很奇怪。所以这些东西你都要把它投射出来，影片跟它的发生的事情，然后跟它的声音怎么加进去，才能够 match perfectly.
Their timing, the matching of what you see and hear, their timing had to be perfect. So that sounds like footsteps or wind blowing would match the movements in the film.
Yeah.
Though technology has greatly advanced since then, and advances to become more progressive, simply to be improved, to be better, many of Jack Foley's techniques, those are the special skills that he developed and used in his films, are still used today. Some things you cannot improve, and that seems to be one of them.
对，所以我来翻译一下这个句子好了。他说呢，他们的 timing 就是刚刚讲那个时间点，就像我们讲的 这个枪声打出去，这个车子开过来，这个时间点呢，都必须要能够完美啊，完全搭配这个他们的，比如说速度啦，或者是它发生的这个状况 ，so that 这个样子的话呢，这些声音啊，听起来像我们刚刚讲的这些脚步声啦，或者是风声啊，才可以完全跟这个电影里面的这些动作是同步的发生。好，虽然呢，这个科技当然我们知道它已经大大的有所进展了。可是呢 ，since then 就从那个时候开始，当然我们现在的科技已经进展相当多，但是呢，这个当时 Jack Foley 他的一些 techniques， 就刚刚老师讲的，他是专业的、特殊的这些技能呢，都还是很多的这些技能呢，都还是到了今天依然是被使用着。
If something is perfect, it stays perfect. So his skills that he developed 50, 60, 70 years ago were so good, we still use them today.
对，所以即使呢，就只要他的技能呢、技术，它是一直都是很完美的，即使过了很多年，大家依然会持续的使用它。
Over time, his name, Jack Foley, has become widely used in the industry to describe the practice of creating sound effects. He was so good. Anytime anyone started to talk about adding sounds into movies, they thought of his work, they thought of his name, and how he has contributed to the development of modern cinema, modern movies.
对，所以呢，随着这个时间的这样的进展下来呢，这样的推移下来呢，他的这个名字就是我们刚刚讲的这个 Jack Foley 的名字呢，一直以来都被广泛的这样子去使用，尤其是在这些电影的 industry， 在这些产业上面。那为的目的呢，就是可以去 describe， 去可以好好的描述这些所谓的音效，制作这些音效 creating 嘛，我们要制作这些音效的这些 practice 就是这样的习俗，这样的一个制度上，也就是呢，可以怎么样把它的名字在业界可以广泛的被使用在这些描述的音效制作上面。
Okay, hope you've enjoyed and learned something from the lessons we have prepared for you this month. We'll be back again next month with new, different, and exciting lessons for you to learn English and learn more about the world that we all live in. Until the next time, bye-bye.